the ninth turn of the millennium graphics, the best that I could assemble at that time. But already I managed to download some of these. I managed to somehow find a way to use this official fonts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, transparency here was wrong. Yeah, it was also the issue with me with that I rushed the level to release. I'll touch on that once again a couple of times, and yeah, I didn't find a way to solve it back then. Now today I know that it's an issue with some pixels being interpreted as black, which are then in turn interpreted as transparent. But I didn't know that at the time, and I said, oh, what the heck? I'll just release it the way it is. Yeah, I used the BMPDF for the final conversion, and the actual graphics I drew in some software, bitmap editing software at the time. I think it was oh, I forgot the name, but something like Paint Pro or something it was called. I think a simple DOS program to edit, and the one which I found, which no, sorry, it was in Windows. It was Windows 98. Sorry. But yeah, the one which managed to load these fonts nicely and format them and so on. No, that's one of my relatives. That's one of my relatives who is still today unaware that he was a forced volunteer to be featured in the in the briefing. Okay, so yeah, to make things short, the story you already know about. We need to infiltrate the fortress and get the key from another double agent and terminate the actual double crossing spy. Okay, and here things begin. So first things which probably which I remember being asked at the time is how can these objects be seen at sufficient light even though everything is dark. The point is that actually this scene is not really that dark. The sector is not really that dark, but actually the textures are dark. You see, if I turn on the headlight, they're not really white like those we know from the detention center, but rather these were modified to be dark, to look dark even at relatively high light levels, so that the game wouldn't turn out to be unplayable with all the darkness. And yet I didn't want to make it too bright either. Wanted to have a little bit of that dark feeling. And of course, as usual, the first scenes have to show something impressive or large, so yeah, a bit of waterfalls here, and I added one vantage point here. It doesn't serve any purpose, but just to show the landscape, to show the floor and ceiling graphics, to be more to be more precise in Dark Forces terms. Anyway, we've got to make our way through the. There we go. At this point, yeah, the music starts, which is just the revolving the voice sound, and go. A little bit of finding way through the dark. No. It's actually there is an elevator. There is an elevator in the game which starts at that moment, and and every, I think, 70 or 80 seconds, whatever the length of the actual soundtrack is, it repeats, and then every step, every time it starts from the first step, it plays that soundtrack once again. It's just a VOC, like all other sound effects in the game. And now we've got some jumping. Now here the trick, or I don't know how I should call it, but the idea is this jumping sequence is quite hard. Even for me back then, it was quite hard to play. But the point is, it's actually a bit forgiving. It's lenient to the extent that it, even if you don't manage to finish it, for example, totally difficult one, yeah. Okay, if you, like I now, if you don't succeed, there is a message here which, if you read it upside down, tells you that actually it's not bad. You know, it probably won't kill you if you fall off the waterfall, if you just do it very carefully. No, back. Yeah, but if you keep jumping, which is an old trick to you know, you can always keep jumping and get some speed. It never forces you to really drop. You can always keep returning to the same position. And here, if you have enough time and the first activity, then you see that if you read this upside down, it says deep dive may not be deadly if done carefully and to the north. So if you go to the north. And yeah, well, it's a secret. No, it shouldn't have been so obvious. If you pay attention to fall carefully of the here, it actually leads to a secret, first secret of the level. And like all secrets done by inexperienced level designers, it's far too rewarding. It gives enough ammunition to destroy the entire empire. No. If you don't have to fall. But the jumping sequence is intentionally so hard that most players will probably not make it. But then they have this second chance. They will actually discover those who are careful enough will actually discover a secret. Those who could manage to make it in the first try will just make it to the next sector. But they will not have these tons of ammunition. So that's the idea. So they would come to this very same area if they made the jump sequence, which I just failed. So put it this way, it was intentionally so hard that it kind of forces you to discover this secret. If you are of course resisting the fall. If you do not break while falling off the waterfall, then it just drops you down and kills Kyle. But otherwise you are led to that shelf from where you can pick up the tons of ammunition. Pardon, you keep breaking up. If that was a question, please repeat it. Yeah. Well, if you've got to be totally to the north, then you make it. Or you can, if you're very agile, then you can make it in a couple of tries. Anyway, okay. You just have to resist the water movement, and then it works. Okay, so on we go. As the mission says, we've got to steal a key and some clothes from the officer who's conveniently here. I even took a bit of time back then to draw this sprite of a key, which includes some card and clothes. So now, supposedly picking up this key, Kyle is now dressed into an Imperial officer and can enter the actual port. And let's go do it right away. Okay. And here we go. So, by this point, okay, user can still come here. Okay, here is one of the first ideas I had back then, was to introduce keys which don't actually exist. But notably, it's a black key which doesn't exist in vanilla Dark Forces. So it was kind of a hint, it's required here, but you shouldn't really search for it. Maybe there is other way to reach the port. And indeed, there's always, as always, there is a convenient little passage from where Kyle can jump to the platform. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, this door cannot be opened without a key. So at this moment, if user opens it, we already know and we can already assume user has picked up the key, but which means the player has picked up also the clothes. So from this moment onward, the Imperial troops don't react, they don't attack. They're just static waxes that I took from, I think, Prelude to Heart of Perfection.
Yeah. It's interesting looking at the chair 3DOs because I think this was only the second or third level to ever use them, and when they were originally created, I think for Imperial Library, they were made so that their faces, their texture faces, were on the inside of the objects rather than on the outside. So if you take a close look at the chairs, all of their textures are inside out, basically.
Oh.
Yeah. Just a demonstration.
What the next? There is another secret here, which is like a special secret, because you probably cannot reach it unless you found the first one. Because by this point, you still have no explosives, and it's quite rewarding here. I put my email address here at the time, and of course it's long since dead. Maybe I should prepare an update, with a newer address.
Very handsome.
And on we go.
Aww.
Okay, lots of these 3DO chairs, which I found cool at the time, because I had a fast computer and it didn't mind having lots of 3D objects. I know many people dislike that. Okay, one interesting point here. I need to open the hangar door. This room where I'm now has actually been. This was the first room I ever created for this level. It all started from this one, and then I just kept expanding from it. By the time I had 100 sectors, I really had no idea what I was doing. I was just playing around with W, B, F, U, or whatever the order of these letters were, and only after a while it dawned to me that actually I can start building something purposeful and make a level. Anyway, I throw this switch and it opens the landing pad door. But before we enter, we can just the shuttle. Close, lock. But I have a battery. Okay, on we go into the fortress. Everything here, by this moment, everything is still very static. So, of course, except for the barrels, and the leads us to this area. I intentionally tried to make the whole level seem larger than it really is, with these west hangars and north hangars and cargo bays, which you cannot access. But I somehow like the idea of the feeling that somehow player has to make their way through quite a complicated building and complex, rather than just see all the rooms that ever existed in the fortress. Here's the main elevator, and on we go. Okay, some switches, and here's like the central hub where everything's happening. At that time, I didn't. Of course, I didn't think it would be. I would never be finished if I tried to really build all of these quarters. So the solution I found was to simply to have some smart answers from the folks here. If asked, we're not recycle plants. It's not for everybody, and then medical quarters only take the emergencies. So I managed not to put too much work, to load too much work myself. But these quarters work, and if I remember correctly, some shield and some nice pickups here. Nothing special about this area here. It's mostly recycled from million other levels. Similar stuff. Here. Okay, no secrets here. Back we go. Okay, another secret is here, and it's this. You can see this lighter panel. Another secret. Oh, conveniently opened with explosives. Yeah, that's light. All right. So the first thing is from the mission, from the briefing, is still here. To pick up the key from an officer waiting for us in the night club. Okay, so apart from the loop from the 19th dance song and some musicians here, all rather fairly standard stuff featuring just usual Dark Forces textures and that kind of, and yeah, again, let's see if we have some session with restrooms. Almost everything has one. Okay. Anyway, lots of objects here, but yeah, it seems to work fine. So I left them all here. And upstairs, with a nice view on the surrounding mountain. Pardon?
That's a point.
Okay.
Did you get that sky texture from anywhere? Because it is very striking.
It is heavily modified one from the Thalite base, actually.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, but I took some time to redraw it. Okay, so we here actually the actual officer doesn't give the key, but they says there is a barman downstairs who will readily supply the key. And yeah, here it already is. Actually, the way it appears, quote unquote appears here, is that it actually, there was a column here, similar to one there behind, which is actually an elevator. But I'm hoping that, by this point I was hoping that users would not realize that there was a column here which just disappeared, but that actually someone placed the key here. Anyway, we take the key to the power zone. So the first step will be to reach the power zone of the fortress, but we'll need to I'll come to it. There will be two elements to actually to reach it. Okay, now that we have the key, we can reach the power zone, and while the main elevator is inaccessible, we can use the cargo elevator. We can use the other one just for now, and up we go. Okay, so here is the computer center we will reach later, and here is. I always like this in other levels, so I wanted to do it myself. I always like the idea of retracing to coming to the place where I can reach something that I already passed earlier, but somehow it connects back everything I did. So I'm here again back at the original hangar where the shuttle was. So it kind of connects back, and I always like it somehow. I find it convenient to orientate myself.
So is that Kahela?
Maybe, yeah. I downloaded it from DF21, as I did almost everything else back then. I'm sorry, I don't remember where I picked it from.
I can actually answer that. That shuttle is based off the Jedi Knight shuttle. It was ported into Dark Forces by Matt Halloran, who was one of the authors of The Dark Tide.
By the way, what was your nick on the DF21 forum?
Oh, I'm Secbase Unlimited. On the old DF21, I was Pumpkinetics. I was responsible for Tower of Doom, and that was about it. I think I joined fairly late. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I remember. It's still on DF21 as in the recent levels from 2008, right? Yep, the most recent level released, besides like a couple of little ones here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so the next, here is the elevator we'll be using quite a lot in this game, in this level at least. And it leads to the power zone. But first we have to reach via the control room. Yeah, usual trick. This switches always work with shot. It takes us to the control room where we can open the room from. But it has one more purpose. It has another switch. So for players who actually did go to the end and turn this one on as well, it starts an elevator. Down. It starts an elevator which leads to the third secret. So it takes a bit of patience, but eventually it should happen. So there is a very long elevator with travel of like 70, 80, 90 units maybe, which allows actually Kyle to descend down to the floor of this sector. Otherwise the normal jump is fatal. But if deadly, but if Kyle just jumps on the elevator, it works. So it's like this. It requires a little bit of coordination, but works. Okay, this brings us to the floor of this sector, and here is the third secret with tons of stuff and no mine. Okay, the bad thing is now I have to wait again for a million years until the elevator gets to the top position and then returns down. This is a convenient time for you to read some book if you have one. Okay, now a little bit more of acrobatics. Now I have to make a very precise jump to get back to the... Okay. Get back to the platform. Alright. And now, by hitting that switch up there in the control room, this door has opened, and this one doesn't lead anywhere, but this one opens the bridge towards the power zone. And now, here we have got the final secret of the level. If there is a very small switch, I don't know if you can see it clearly on the Twitch due to compression, but there is one. If I shoot it, this thing reveals to get to life. Okay, now we're getting very close to where the action of this game action in this level actually starts. So yeah, to insert the power zone key, but unpredictably and against all plans, Kyle has to place the palm, and he would be recognized as a defective officer. And these Imperials that have been standing until now here, they start attacking. What actually happens is, apart from music change in the background, actually there are two sectors, one above other. And in what happens with lots of INF or inf things is that one elevator with the static figures, with the static object is moved away, and other one put in its place, which contains the actual living enemies. And there is also some inf work to actually join some of the walls. So all that happens in that 1 second to convert the static waxes into the actual, living Imperial.
Fantastic.
Well, it was the only way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to. Yeah, it's that one. I remember it took quite a lot to adjust everything perfectly, so that everything is nicely synchronized. That it happens virtually in these Imperials who have been standing actually start attacking. Now, the lots of criticism I got, the most criticism I got about this level is that most players didn't know what to do at this point, actually. And I admit it was definitely my mistake that I didn't give any clues what should actually happen, how should Kyle proceed, and people went on just, roaming around the fortress, not realizing that what they have to do is shoot the handprints detector, which of course conveniently shows the unblocking electronics, but mainly the door to the power zone opens. Now thinking back, I should have given a bit more clues to the user, to the players what happened. Okay, a lot of Imperials to clear from here.
Oh, this room is notorious in DOSBox.
Yeah. Again, one thing I didn't think of at the time. I had a very fast computer back then. I was lucky, and I totally conveniently thought, oh, if it works for me, it will work fine for everyone. So, which was, you know, typical developers' response to everything. It works fine on my machine.
I think by the late 90s, most computers were fine with areas like this. It's just because once it's running in emulation, it suffers that much more. But
exactly, yeah.
It does look impressive. Fun fact, so the way that the engine draws 3DOs, if a 3DO is seen through an adjoint, it has to draw that object again. So anytime there's a room with multiple adjoints and multiple 3DOs, it's having to draw every single object multiple times, which is why everything's slowing down so much here.
Yeah. You know, I had a Pentium 233 MMX at the time, which was a monster beast machine, and I did never realize it slowing down. And well, this area these are like innards of the computer. They seem just like for show here, but actually they'll be important later, as maybe you anyway know. Oh, I have to take care of that turret there. Oh, before it takes care of me. Yeah, now actually even with strong emulation, lagging a little bit. Well, that's okay. So, now that we are in the power zone, we have to reach the reactor, and to reach the reactor, we will need two things: the key to the computer zone, and also the code which we'll need there. And we have to collect them at two different positions. I'll go first here. This one leads to the final reactor, but we have to visit it once before we go to the final showdown. Okay, if I remember right, here is an enemy. Yeah. And room. Okay. Okay, like in most levels, these Imperials are perfectly happy to shoot the blast again and again, without any effect whatsoever. But notably, the final one has the key card. And here's also the switch which opens the door to the next stage, which actually unlocks it, and now this one can open. Slowly till we fly how heavy and strong this door actually is. Okay, so at this point we see here we'll need some kind of a code, but if you just go to this, you see that the code of course doesn't match. This uses normal Roman letters. So at this point we know we'll need something else, but we need to use that. We need to use this elsewhere. So back to go. Now that we have this card, the code card, we'll have to collect it. Yeah. That's the main bug. Yeah, that it never spawns. Yeah. So here, the first idea for players would be to just descend and let's go a little bit to this area, but they don't find, apart from more chairs, which obviously I like very much at the time, and collecting some weapons, not much else, until they realize that. It's not only... here's the concussion rifle. Until they realize that if they jump soon enough from the elevator, they can reach at the top of these containers, whatever we want to call them. This also gives an opportunity to shoot down the guard with the... with the concussion rifle. I have received at least one question whether it's possible to reach that guard and take the concussion rifle. Answer: no, it's not. And by intention, it would be a bit too developing the user. The rifle. Okay, this switch opens the pipe leading to the container down there, and now we can enter the container with clear water, so no diagonals here. There are no good. And it leads us to the next passages. Absurdly spacious sewage system. Okay, we come to the area where we will pick up the second thing we need to finish to enter the reactor area. Okay. And now, okay, these stairs will lead us back to the computer room, back to where we need. But here we have to figure out how to enter this area. And the point is, again, we find some computers. With lots of electronic cards, however we want to call them. But if you watch closely on the map, here is a hint. One of them is actually an elevator, actually movable, actable one, and it reveals a switch, a time switch, which opens this door for just enough time. And I can reach this area if I'm quickly. And here is the officer that has the key, and also some detonators, always lots of detonators, and some more chairs, yeah, video chairs. I think this is the best advertisement for these chairs, at least the largest one. This never existed. Okay, so now that we have collected both the key card, this key card, and the computer zone key, we're ready to go to the computer zone. Of course, the computer zone can be reached earlier only with key only, but by that time you realize you need a code to go further. So backtracking there to the computer part. Oh, this thing I drew for like one full day. I spent on these graphs. They don't show anything. I just try to make something. To invent something that would look nice. But, well, this switch, not the other one. Okay. A little bit of backtracking. Switch on the door, very unusual, inconvenient because its handle would break as it opens now. Here. And back we go to the computer center. Yeah, some generators have spawners have been activated in the meantime, so that it doesn't happen that all the rest of the base is unaware that there was a breach of security going on in other here. And two doors make things a little bit funnier. Unfortunately, because of that first secrets back there in the beginning, I have enough ammunition to take down the entire empire. At least mortar shells. Here is here's the auxiliary areas, which are not really technical level, but yeah. Here is the silver key is needed. Another case where another example where a key doesn't actually exist. But yeah, there you go. Okay, some more restrooms. Everyone likes that. And the conference room, again, warehouse of chairs. Nice rostrum. Okay, and here is the key area. Here we'll have to use the key.
I mean, I think the biggest flaw with that chair video is that it has armrests, and the Empire would not care about comfort that much.
Yeah, they could be considered lucky that they have the chair in the first place. You're totally right there. Okay. And it seems to have been in it. Okay, some information.
Something about the design of this area always seemed very striking to me. I really like it.
I try, thank you. And I try to make a lot of contrast because you see the entire room is actually quite dark, but try to use as much as possible these textures which have these light colors, so colors that are always that are at full brightness regardless of the room, of the light level of the room. And I try to somehow make it very technical, you know, with all these little light details we see in sci-fi movies.
The design of the computer booths is also very iconic. So.
No, except the one we are gonna see now. After the code, everything is fairly generic, standard vanilla Dark Forces stuff, but used in a different way. Because in vanilla Dark Forces there aren't really very many areas that are really dark. They're occasionally seen, but so this is an opportunity to see some textures in different light level. So it was free, half, triangle, and D. Okay, this allows us to take the shield off the power generator. Well, not power generation. For energetic. So it lets us turn this thing on, which reveals this is of course the custom texture. So this is another key to the puzzle. So the first by the first look, one would say it points to the letters D, L, and R. But actually, what it really does is actually it points to two columns. This points to the third column. This points to the penultimate column. This points to the second row, and this points again to the penultimate row. And we have to see what the intersections are. So the first intersection is at W, the second one is at E, the third one at S, and the final one is at T. So actually it points to letters W, E, S, T, word west. Of course, these all letters, as you see, they actually have some meaning. They're just to throw you off on it. So they're bait, but these terms are totally unrelated to the puzzle. The result of the puzzle is the word west, and we'll need it to enter the final stage. So we're done here at this point. We've learned this magical keyword west, and we can return to the final reactor room and open with this keyword.
Yeah, I think the first time I ever played this level, I managed to just completely ignore this area because I just somehow had read that the code word was west, which didn't realize was like an entire area I'd missed.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one. Also, I remember a bit of emails I was receiving at the time, asking the very question, whether, because many people reported they just they just try different words until they entered west and they realized it worked, but didn't know where the clue was. Okay.
Oh, while you're looking to the code, another question I was meaning to ask. So this background music was made by your band at the time, yes?
Yes, both were made by my band. I'm playing. Yeah.
Yeah. Did any of your band members ever play this level, and if so, what were their thoughts?
Yeah, there were some of the playtesters actually. Yeah. Not all of them were computer savvy at the time, but I gave them a sneak peek when I was getting close to the finish. Yeah, it was actually, to be more precise, only the first one, the first part, the stock part of the was recorded live by the band, and this one that we're hearing now, actually we couldn't play, although we know it, but we couldn't record it because simply our skill was too low, and we couldn't really record it in one piece nicely. So it's a combination of a bit of sampled music, a bit of overdubbing, and a bit of it's like this what we're hearing is a patchwork of all kinds of ideas. It would take until 2010 probably to record it one go.
Well, it still sounds fantastic.
Yeah, thanks. It really took a lot of test. Yeah, I had to learn a lot of tracking, a lot of music recording software to somehow get it all, to put it all together. Because I didn't want to just, when I already had the first track, I didn't want to just accept defeat and use the GMD music. So I said we'll have some kind of a sample music, even if it kills me. Okay. Here, conveniently, there are these energy barrels here, so not really much ammunition is needed to clear this area. Okay, now we go in. Here is the reactor. Still no sign of our traitor, but as you probably remember, we are going to meet him very soon. Here is the autogun, my favorite weapon, but we won't be needing it at this point any longer. Okay, I throw the switch, and the reactor door, reactor bridge open. So now, by the old law of computer games, if you see power an energy reactor and it's turned off, then you can be sure you'll have to turn it on at some point. And if you find it turned on, then you can be sure that it's gonna overheat and explode at some point. This level belongs to the second category, so we're gonna have to overheat it. Yes, it wasn't related to Chernobyl or that stuff, just came so. Okay, so cooling disabled, lights go down, and the emergency exit open. And now a little bit borrowed from Mount Wreck. Here we encounter our culprit, and the explosion throws me away. And now this is the old movie trick of the main target who was supposed to be terminated, being lost in explosion. You never know whether he was killed or not, and that kind of stuff. I was somehow keeping the door open for maybe some kind of a future appearance of our double spy. Anyway, explosion throws the player here into this again conveniently large ventilation area, and leads to a little bit of back to the bit. Here is a quite nasty mine. I have to get rid of that. Oh, I got rid of something. Okay, another try. Okay. Oh, okay. This is supposed to be something like a feeling just crawled out of some ventilation shaft in some weird remote area of the base where they just spent time resting and so on with these posters and so on. Now a little off topic here. You see, the game is nearly finished at this point. So I just finished the main objective, or let's say the double agent has been taken care of, killed. And here, unfortunately, at this point, this is where I made I would admit the biggest mistake in the whole level. I rushed now at this point I started rushing it to production because to release, because I felt now, okay, I've taken care of everything, mission is finished, and now the way back home, or way to the end of the game, is too abrupt in now looking 20 years back. So like you finish your main objective and 7 meters onward there is a way for you to get back. It's too fast. The mission, for some balance, should still, in order to have some balanced mission, should still have some, content after the main objective has been accomplished. Okay, and pardon?
Oh yeah, fair point. Although I do think this elevator here at least adds a little bit of a sort of break between the climax of the level, so to speak, and the actual ending.
Yeah, exactly. I was feeling a little bit like the final mission of Vanilla Dark Forces, where you destroy the Phase 3 Dark Trooper, and 4 seconds later you're finishing the entire game. I should have probably made something better, or a little bit longer. Anyway, here is another trick which occurred then to me. If you see a switch next to a door, of course it will open the door, but you don't, players don't really think of whether it opens anything else. It opens this door, which hides, not hides, but reveals the way for the Dark Trooper Phase 1. And at that moment, a little bit like it's supposed to be kind of a surprise when you know when you hit the switch and this starts opening and you hear that creepy sound of the dark trooper spotting you. And then you have to, you're slightly disoriented trying to find where that sound came from, and you realize that it was actually here. This door is, not really anywhere else. As a not openable. And we have another elevator leading us out to the base. Yeah, this is what I meant by this too abrupt ending. Now you think at this moment you think, oh, I've got the whole base to navigate out of and find some way, but actually what you conveniently open the door and you've got the land feeders, the bikes you have ready, and there it is, the end of the level with the speeder bike. Yeah, at this point we can just press the next mission and we are led back to the